PodcastCoug Season 8, Episode 2.
You are listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network with your host, James Laurie. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug On Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. And now, here is your host, PodcastCoug.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the PodcastCoug. I am James Laurie, the PodcastCoug, and you are listening to the PodcastCoug, where we're all things Cougar football. 30 minutes of Coug Talk, where we're talking about the Colorado State game and the current best conference in America, and the Cougs hosting Wisconsin in Pullman on Saturday. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of the PodcastCoug, right? Another blowout win. This time it's Colorado State, 50-24. Cougs take total control and domination after a sluggish start. Never looked back. Pretty cool. It was actually, not broadcast, right, live on TV at the very beginning, right? That first half of that first quarter. How disappointing, right? Had to stream it on CBS Network app to see that game. Previous game was running over live on CBS Network, and how frustrating is that, right? I mean, we didn't really miss much, right? Except a slow start, right? And that's what we so if we're going to miss something on TV, why not see the slow start? The Cougs took a trip to Fort Collins, and Colorado State looking at a fast start, season opener. Again, final score 50-24. Took a few drives to come alive, but the Cougs showed results. Hoping for, we got a good day. A lot of good film from that day, and Cougs quickly went 3 and out that first possession that was not on the broadcast. And then, before the Rams, they actually took a 12-play, 55-yard ending in a Colorado State field goal, 3-0 right off the bat, and certainly enough to motivate the Cougs defense. And we held the Rams scoreless on the next 9 drives. I mean, literally, the next 9 drives, Colorado State couldn't do anything. They are a bad football team, okay? I'm sorry to be disrespectful. They're just not good, okay? They might win 2 games this year, right? Of those 9 drives that we stopped in, the Cougs forced 5 punts, 2 turnovers on downs, snagged a couple of interceptions in the third quarter. One from sophomore defensive back Jackson Latayamua, right, and the other 37-yard pick six by Jaden Hicks. I mean, we're going to hear Jaden Hicks a lot this year. Sophomore safety Jaden Hicks. How about Jaden Hicks? Man, this good going Jaden, right? Tons of talent, eyes on the ball. Boom. Pick six. Love to see that in the Apple Cup, right? Let's do it again. Let's do it against the Badgers, right? No doubt we're going to see a ton of Jaden Hicks this season. From Las Vegas, had a standout performance, 7 tackles against that, again, a pick six. He had a half sack and 2 pass breakups. So, if he keeps going on, NFL's on the way, right? So, if he keeps going. So, he also had a near interception later in the game, and junior defensive back Kapina Gushgun had a fumble recovery for a touchdown that was called back on a later scoring drive for CSU. So, despite some garbage time scores for the Rams, the Cougs defense responded nicely in a game under the new defensive coordinator, Jeff Smedling. And of the Rams' 24 points, 1 touchdown came for that 98-yard kickoff return. The other 2 touchdowns came in the fourth quarter when the game was already in hand. We had our second, third string guys in there, and that was the garbage type time. But Ward finished the day 37 out of 49, right? 451 yards, including, completion, 9 different receivers and 3 touchdown passes. So it wasn't perfect performance. Ward wasn't scrambling or throwing to the side so much. He had a pass that could have been intercepted. He had 2 lost fumbles and a wide open receiver for a short touchdown pass. Hey, you know what? Nobody's perfect, right? He just completely blew that pass. It would have been 57-24. So big disappointment for the Cougs was our rushing attack. Our running backs and receivers combined, 20 rushes for just 50 yards. Good for just 2.5 yards per carry. Ward ultimately carried the run game. He had 63 rushing yards, 13 carries with a touchdown, and the most Cam has run in a single game at Washington State. A lot of guys outside our, are in and around our conference and all over the country are kind of, Cam Ward, they're kind of scared of him. I mean, he's a runner. He makes plays. We kind of see him all the time, so we're not as, fearful of him as, outside teams. You look at you just watch from wherever, and Cam Ward's got a lot of respect out there. It was a career day for Dean Janikowski, who hit a 55-yard career-long field goal. Senior wide receiver Lincoln Victor had a career of high of 11 catches. Go Lincoln Victor, right? 11 catches, 168 receiving yards. Those are great numbers. Other standouts include receiver Josh Kelly, who had 7 catches, almost 100 yards, 97 yards, a touchdown for Josh Kelly. Junior linebacker Kyle Thornton had 9 tackles. And again, redshirt freshman John Mateer, my guy, right? John Mateer ran for 2 touchdowns. Now, he had mop-up duty, right? Would have loved to see more of John Mateer throwing the ball instead of handing off that mop-up duty. He is so not only capable, okay? I mean, he had 1 good pass, right? Let's throw the ball. Come on, coach. Let John rip.com, right? Let John Mateer rip.com. And I can't wait to see more of John Mateer. Let's put him in the second half, right? More of not just mop up, but let's when we've got the commanding lead, we know we've got the game. Let's see more of John Mateer. I'm all for that. So the Cougs lead an all-time series against Colorado State 2-1, and now we can set our sights high on our primetime matchup this week against Wisconsin on Saturday, right? Number 19 Badgers at Martin Stadium. Amazing start. Great. The Pac-12, here we go. The collapse of the Pac-12. Even more sad if you take a look at this Pac-12 situation. Here we are. Pac-12 football. The outlook has rarely, ever been better. We just completed one of the most robust, eye-opening weekends in conference history, right? That's right. The best in conference history. What are we talking about? The Pac-12 just completed, I'm telling you, eye-opening weekends in conference history, the most robust, right? Here we got the conference self-destructing at the end of the season, specifically December 1st. It's members going their various ways to leave us, and Oregon State and us we're to fend for ourselves. The last 2 schools standing in a conference that dates back to 1915. That's 108 years ago. And so here we are, week 2, looking at the strength of the Pac-12, and with 6 teams in the latest AP Top 25 and 3 others earning votes, and it absolutely beyond sad that we were unable to forge a media rights deal that we could have kept together, right? You can blame the university presidents. You can blame the current and previous commissioners. You can blame the TV networks. You can blame all the people who cut the cords in every household. 50 million households cut the cord that's a huge revenue loss for linear television partners. And USC, blame USC and UCLA of the world, and even Colorado for just going after them right after USC and UCLA, causing Washington and Oregon to bolt. But in the light of the fact that that piecemeal proved both enticing and lucrative to the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC, it's hard to fathom how collectively they didn't warrant a decent television deal, not even with Apple. The future's here. It's all streaming, okay? So sure, there's a lot of remotes with linear. There really are. There's 50 million households that are still running cable or satellite, right? Cable or satellite. But eventually, and people are streaming. I mean, we really are. We're streaming. And it's too bad we just didn't go with it with the Apple deal and pause a little bit. And now we've got a sobering end of the line, like a funeral, kind of in this conference, Instead of a celebration, it's anything but. It's a funeral, come December 1st. And that just overflows with riveting headlines, standout talent, national relevance. We are nationally relevant right now in the Pac-12. 6-year absence from the college football playoffs, and it might end just as 10 teams are making their exit. If somehow we could do a Power 5 ranking after week 1, no doubt the SEC would hold down the top spot, but the Pac-12 is in the number 2 position. Probably the best conference right now in the country. You want some numbers? What are we talking about? The Pac-12 is 13-0 this season, outscoring its opponents 604 to 244 points. That's a 27-point average victory of margin. 27 points average. The average score of the games is 46, reflects the fact that 6 of the 13 games have resulted in 50 or more points by Pac-12 schools. And then we got Oregon at 81 points against the Vikings of Portland State. And 5 teams that went into the week nationally ranked won by an average score of 54 points. Who does that? I'm not making this up. I said the 5 teams that went into the week nationally ranked, okay, in the top 25, top 20. They won with an average score of 54 points. The Pac-12 averaged 53 points in the 8 games it's played on Saturday. The only time in the past 40 years in any FBS conference that had teams averaging 50 points, okay, or more per game, and the minimum is 8 teams in action, according to a source called OptaStats. So 40 years. No other conference is unbeaten. No other conference is unbeaten right now. Only the Pac-12, and no other conference is, like I said. In fact, every other conference has multiple teams with losses. It's been since 1932 that every team has won its season opener. So, 1932. Wow. In the Pac-12. Now, back then it wasn't the Pac-12. It was the Pac-8. But, and it's all over December 1st. So bottom line, here we are, the Pac-12, not just us, everybody in the Pac-12. We're playing our best games, right? Our best results, our best efforts right now. And it's all over on December 1st. And it's sad. Too bad we don't have a mulligans for USC and UCLA. Too bad the contracts can't be terminated, right? Too bad they don't wake up tomorrow morning and say, you know what? Oregon, USC, UCLA, why not terminate, right? The most hyped up team in the nation. Who is that, right? The most hyped up in the country, primetime Colorado, with Deion Sanders. Deion/YouTube Sanders, right, is a Pac-12 team. Guaranteed to be going he's the closely scrutinized team and the polarized team in the country in the foreseeable future. Everybody, all eyes on Colorado, not Alabama, not Georgia. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Georgia, no doubt. But all eyes on Colorado, right? And as you know, the Buffaloes won. I think they're playing Nebraska this weekend, all right? But the Buffaloes won they got the headlines. They stunned Texas Christian. We all know that who played the national title last season and went undefeated in conference play. TCU was 9-0 in conference, and the Buffaloes added 2 Heisman candidates. They've got a 2-way sensation with Travis Hunter and their quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. That's right, the son of the coach, Deion Sanders. Can you believe that? His son? Here we got primetime Deion, right? Mr. YouTube. I mean, the guy, is like bigger than, I'm not going to say Taylor Swift, okay? I'm not a Swiftie. But if you know anything about major cities and concerts, Taylor Swift came in your town, you know what Swifties are. And she's pretty big deal. And I don't listen to her music, but you got to honor Taylor Swift, right? She just what did she do also this summer? She compensated all of her truck drivers a bonus of $100,000. Now, Deion Sanders isn't as big as Taylor Swift, not by a long shot, but in college football he is, and everybody's looking at him, and they're just shocked. And his son, Jackson State, here they have they came from an FCS team, Jackson State, who had 2 great years. The last, Deion did some amazing things at Jackson State. But Shador is a great quarterback. We're going to see more of him this year. Everybody's going to be watching Colorado, and then we've got the defending Heisman winner, right, Caleb Williams of USC, along with a couple of other Pac-12 quarterbacks like the Huskies' Penix, right, Michael Penix. This guy's the best, and most of us that are listening are not hardcore Montlake fans, okay? Although there's some Huskies that do listen to the PodcastCoug. But there has never been a better quarterback at the University of Washington than Michael Penix. No way. Sonny Six Killer was not better than Penix, okay? So this guy is amazing. Oregon's Bo Nix, Utah's Cam Rising. What's interesting about Cam Rising, though, is all of them, except for Cam Rising, sat out with an injury last Saturday on week 1. So other quarterbacks, we talked about Cam Ward, right? Everybody's fearing him out in our conference, in and outside our conference. Ward's got a lot of attention. Oregon State's, right? DJ Weyangalele, if I could pronounce that, Weyangalele, and of course we got Jaden DeLora, right, in Arizona. So this is a conference that's amazing right now. Just incredible, impressive, all top to bottom, all over the conference, including the blowout wins by USC, Oregon, Washington State, and Oregon State. We're talking blowouts, and a gritty Power 5 victory by Utah, right, at Salt Lake in over Florida, right. And then we got the bottom of the Pac-12. Stanford actually had an impressive 37-24 win over Hawaii in Troy Taylor's coaching debut. And then we got Berkeley, California, behind 188 rushing yards behind Jaden Ott. They blew past North Texas, 58-21. How about that? Get this, the Bears' first time to exceed 50 points in Justin Wilcox' 7 seasons. Right? I mean, I can't believe Justin Wilcox, coach, right, has never scored 50 points in his 7 years at Cal at all. That's right. Well, he did it. He did it last weekend. What do we have here? This is amazing. We got Deion Sanders all the way. We got USC. We got Bo Nix. Caleb Williams. We got Penix. We got Justin Wilcox scoring 50 points for the first time in his career at Berkeley. We got Stanford cruising 58 points against North Texas. You name it, we've got it. Cam Ward made some record numbers, 451 yards passing, and it goes on. At Oregon State, it goes on and on and on. We can't, guys, you can't make this stuff up. This is the Pac-12. And obviously there were some cupcakes there. There were some bad teams, obviously, right? Colorado State is a bad team. With all due respect, they're a great campus, great stadium, great school, bad football team. I'm sorry. Somebody's got to be bad, right? Hawaii has nothing to brag about except for those beaches in Oahu that are better than Palo Alto. Wait, beaches in Palo Alto? Okay, you got some great beaches in Oahu, right? But of course, the quality of opponents are going to be increasing over the course of the season. Starting this week, Cal has Auburn at home. Hey, the Auburn Tigers are in Berkeley, and the Pac-12 teams are eventually going to cannibalize each other and go head on head, and we're going to get national headlines. And then of course, starting Saturday, it's USC and Stanford. That's a conference game. So it's impossible not to look at this blazing start at the Pac-12 and then realize, sadly, got any Kleenex? Little plug for Kleenex. How about some facial tissue, right? I mean, literally, it's all temporary. I mean, this is sad. This should be a golden era. The start of the golden era of Pac-12, and instead of the start of a golden era, it's the end of a chapter, a huge chapter. It's very sad. It's very, not only is sad, but what about Washington State? Now, is there, like I said earlier, is there any way USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Arizona State, Cal, and Stanford could reconsider? Could they get a mulligans? Could they wake up tomorrow morning and go, you know what? Let's terminate our contracts. Let's just stay home. Let's stay in the Pac-12. It's too bad they can't terminate. Why not get a deal with Apple, Amazon, or anybody, a better deal? Since we've educated some of our commissioners and our presidents, and if all of our feedback, they're listening to this noise, right? They're not experts. If you're the president of a university, you're an administrator. You're an executive administrator. You're not a sports consultant or executive. Okay, you just aren't. That's not. I mean, So, and how often do you negotiate media deals? Now, it does take common sense, but you also got to know a lot of other things. You got to know technology, and they scoffed at Apple. I'll tell you, I don't know. Apple could be the future. Who knows? We don't know. But isn't it too bad they don't get a mulligans and they just wake up tomorrow morning and say, you know what, we're terminating. We're going to pay a little bit of termination fees and some attorney fees for doing this. Breach of contract. We're not coming to the Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. We're going to stay. Wouldn't that be a dream? You'd wake up and that was a dream. That was, but on the flip side, to get our minds off the inevitable, which is the ending of the Pac-12 on what I think is going to be a phenomenal year. I mean, a phenomenal year in the Pac-12, not right? We've got a Big Ten opponent coming to Pullman on Saturday, Wisconsin. We're talking about the Badgers football next, right here on the second half of the Podcast Coug.
Hey, Coug fans. You're podcasting with James Laurie and the PodcastCoug Radio Network. The Podcast Coug is your weekly Coug on Demand show, featuring all things Cougar football in Washington State. To help you get through the week, hit the subscribe button or check us out on iTunes, the App Store, iOS, Google Play, Stitcher, or at PodcastCoug.com.
The real estate agent you work with matters, and a great agent helps you own the home of your dreams. And your dreams come true with James Laurie at Coldwell Banker Bain, representing clients like you 24/7. From condos to colonials and everything in between. If you're selling, buying, need a price analysis, or just a contractor referral, ask James, winner of the 2015 through 2019 International Coldwell Banker Diamond Award, with dozens and dozens of 5-star Zillow reviews and Seattle Magazine's 5-star award winner for 2018 through 2020. James Laurie, Coldwell Banker Bain, at 425-466-3672. Or JamesLaurie.net. Rock solid results.
You're listening to the Podcast Coug.
Two running backs in with the quarterback. Signals called. All man in motion going through to the right side. Handoff wings out to the right side. Touchdown, Washington State.
You are listening to the Podcast Coug.
Welcome back to the second half of the Podcast Coug. I am James Laurie, the Podcast Coug, where we're all things Cougar football, all things Cougs, and it's Wisconsin at Washington State on Saturday, Martin Stadium. This is a game we all been waiting for. I've been waiting for years. Circled on the calendar. We got 4:30 kick on Saturday. ABC, the big ABC. Thank you, Mr. Keith Jackson. How was the last time we've been on ABC, right? It's been a long time. I mean, we're not talking about ESPN, right? We are talking about ABC. That's a long time. And weather's going to be great. Records are 1-0 for both schools, right? Series started both records are 1-0, but the series started a long time ago. Wisconsin leads the series by 2 wins. Now, Washington State has 1 win, 2 wins on Wisconsin. We played Wisconsin in 1976 and 07, and then, of course, last year. And all those games were played in September, and Saturday is no exception. Here we are. Again, Wisconsin leads that series 2-1. Saturday is a rematch, as you know. Cougs won last year 17-14 in Madison at Camp Randall. And Wisconsin is number 19. And, hey, you know what? And we said the last time the Big Ten opponent played at Martin was 1998, 25 years ago. Illinois, the Fighting Illini, was September 5th, 1998, 25 years ago. Guess what? We won 20-13. That's right. We won 20-13 in 1998. The line as of Monday, Wisconsin's got a 6.5-point favorite according to Vegas, and they're going to schedule a Mike Leach tribute since this is the first home game since his passing last December. Special tribute to Mike Leach from the team, the coaches, the administrators, everybody. Special flags in honor on Saturday for Mike Leach, who passed on December 12th last year. So this is we're going to do a little bit of that. Game is not a sellout. It's close to being sold out. People say, well, what's going on here? Why? I mean, you can't figure it out. You know, when you got a 70-inch television at home or a theater or just a nice, comfortable TV, some people just watch it on their phone, you know, or an iPad. But, you know, back in the day, right? Back in the day, it was when there were CRT TVs, right? It's 19-inch CRTs, right? It was a big deal going to a game. But today, you know, when people can just sit in their own living room and watch it on ABC, that's probably why it's not sold out. But it's very close to being sold out. Last week, of course, Colorado State, the Cougs scored 50 points in a very non-competitive football game. Badgers, 38-17 win over Buffalo. Their running backs Braylon Allen and Ches Malusi had 141 yards and 157 yards on the ground, respectively. Bottom line, Wisconsin had 314 yards rushing for 4 TDs. Okay, 314 yards rushing, 4 TDs. I don't think there's a better two-back, tailback system in the United States. I don't think there's another team that has a better two-back or two tailbacks on the same team in the United States, and this is Wisconsin. Their new approach on offense, Wisconsin's offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, wants to build an air raid offense in the Badgers program. Get that, you know, installing a system that encourages receivers to find an open space and pushes the quarterback, Tanner Mordecai, to find them. Now, it's a little bit of a twist. I would be stretching that. I don't really call that an air raid, but he's talking about it. And the Badgers did that plenty on Saturday. Mordecai, a transfer from from SMU, connected 24 of 31 passes for 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. For the most part, he played it safe. You know, again, he's from Southern Methodist. He found receivers Will Pauling and Tucker Acecraft for intermediate completions, and it wasn't exactly the best outing that some had expected on a team they felt really good about. The fans didn't, but Mordecai is unable. Here's the problem with Mordecai, right? He's unable or unwilling to throw the deep ball. He just throws short passes. So he's unable to throw the deep ball, or unwilling, okay? Now, Phil Longo calls it a don't blink offense. It's built on simplicity and efficiency. That's what, you know, and so balance to us is not 40 runs and 40 passes. It's you know, he said this right after Luke Fickell hired him. Coach Luke Fickell hired him. He said, balance to us is a distribution of the football to all the weapons what we have on the offense. And at Wisconsin, we've got 2 really good ones, and we've got a really good running back. So a couple of good running backs. So what they want to do is really increase how effectively they can be on the passing game, and the defense have to defend a full field of 5 skill players. So that's really the goal of the air raid what they call the air raid. I would challenge that at Wisconsin. Another version of the air raid. I mean, last week at CSU, Colorado State, with Mr. Mummy, right, on the sidelines, and Wisconsin now, I don't think so, but either does Dickert. Coach Dickert grew up as a big Badger fan his whole life growing up as a kid. He lived within minutes of Camp Randall. And so they've got a new staff, new schemes, new system. They're trying to figure it out and get comfortable with it. But the identity of Wisconsin football is there. Big, fast, tough play, aggressive, and with tons of effort, and that's the core. They've always generally been a top 20 program, right? Generally. And they've got to get used to these new roles. But, last weekend, Buffalo quarterback Cole Snyder completed 26 passes to 12 different receivers and 193 yards between all those guys. So, it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be very interesting. As far as the matchup with the Cougs, it's too early to tell to really see if certainly we have not been challenged yet. Okay, Colorado State was not a test; it really wasn't. Okay, and guys to watch on Saturday: linebacker Jordan Turner. Although he's going to miss Saturday, he's going to miss the first half of the game. He was ejected for targeting in that Buffalo game. But outsider linebacker Darrell Peterson had 5 tackles last weekend. Nickelback Jason Mater. Okay. And you remember what happened last year, right? You may not remember what your significant other, your wife, your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, brother, sister, mom, dad, what they gave you for Christmas last year. What did they give you for Christmas? What did you get for Christmas last year? You probably forgot, right? But you didn't forget what happened at Camp Randall Stadium last year, right? Homecoming event for Dickert, right? His extended family. What did he have? 100 or so guys, family, extended family, native of Wisconsin. Cougs marched into Camp Randall with our Cougar Gold. Who's got the real cheese, right? And everything, and it just shocked and upset the Badgers and the nation. And they were ranked 19th at the time. Of course, their coach was on the line for that one. Nakia Watson, of course, he transferred from Wisconsin, scored both of the Cougs touchdowns. And on defense, the Cougs bottled up the Allen. And that's a key reason why we pulled off the win. We stopped Allen. Can we do it on Saturday? Can Wisconsin throw the deep ball? No. Nope, they're not going to throw the deep ball. Can they run the ball? Yes. They're going to run it right down our throats. They're going to run it right down our throats. And I'm not sure we're going to be able to stop the run. We've got guys. Sure, we've got some guys, right? This is going to be a huge test, all right? This is not a USC test, but it's a huge test. We've got to obviously play our best, stay focused, and we got to step up. And literally, and the crowd's got to be into it. I mean, we got to be jacked, and right? So they've got guys too, and they're scared of Ward, and I'm scared of their running backs. And would love to believe we can pull it off. If we do, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. Just going to be absolutely amazing if we pull this thing off. Frankly, I just don't see us stopping the run. I just don't. Wisconsin gets this one. Tough day, but still believing for a magical day. Hey, there's nothing wrong with believing, right? A memorable Big Ten opponent in Martin Stadium, that's been circled on my calendar. I don't know about your calendar. This has been circled on my calendar for years. Can't wait to be there as well, in person. Butts in the seat. Hey, we beat Illinois 25 years ago, right? Why not again? Why not? Let's go Crimson and Gray. Let's go Cougs. Hey, that's it for episode 2 of season 8 of the Podcast Coug. Thank you so much for listening. It's the Badgers and the Cougs. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless, and go Cougs.
You've been listening to the Podcast Coug with your host, James Laurie. The Podcast Coug is your weekly Coug on Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. This has been a presentation of the Podcast Coug Radio Network. Find us at podcastcoug.com.
T